This podcast is brought to you by Giant Food. And today, more than ever, they are committed to you because we are all in this together so we can continue to share the little things that matter.
Recorded live from the lobby of the Line Hotel in Adams Morgan, Washington, D.C. Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. This podcast is where dynamic people of color in the food and agriculture space share their personal food journeys, passions, and perspectives that stem from the land, all exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting here on Full Service Radio. So for today, I want to welcome back a very special guest and friend, Ronnie Webb, co-founder of the Green Scheme based here in Washington, D.C., with a mission to bridge communities and resources to empower youth to live healthy and sustainable lives. The Green Scheme is also home to Corner Water, an infused water concept developed by the team, and they are also the creators behind the Don't Mute My Health campaign. Welcome back, my friends. You are alum now. You've been alum, but welcome back, Ronnie.
Thank you. You know, we love coming, man, supporting, being a part of your amazing platform.
You've always been so supportive since day one, even before we rarely even know each other, which is so crazy, but I appreciate you. And I miss you dearly. I don't want this podcast to turn to this sappy, I miss you, but I really do. I miss us, connecting and just saying, yo, Ronnie, let's talk about this idea. Let's meet here. Let's meet there. And, but we're here online and that counts.
We are. Yeah. But it's been crazy. Crazy.
It has, but we'll definitely jump into all of that. But before we get started, before we really jump into conversations, I will not do this episode without acknowledging your amazing team because we had talked about having everyone in, but of course with the turn of things that couldn't happen. But seriously, shout out to Jerome, Kiana, and Andrea, and all the other wonderful volunteers and the kids and the youth that I know at this very time. I mean, you guys are always busy, but really this is you all season. You all would be out and about with Corner Water, the campaign at schools with the kids, but definitely need to shout out the whole team because they're the bomb. So anywho,
Sure.
So let's do a quick Rona check-in, Ronnie. What's been going on in your world? What have you been doing to just maintain your mental health, your physical health, your well-being all around? And I see you, all the time actually with your healthy meals and your sea moss, and you're just always in great spirits. But what have you been doing just to stay mentally sane during these times? Because again, like I said, this is a time where you're out and about and your hand is in the soil with the kids and you got a lot going on. So what have you been doing just to maintain your health and well-being during these times?
That's a good question. I think the main thing is just creating balance. So just trying to stay balanced in life. So, things have been a little crazy and access to things hasn't been the same. But I see it as an opportunity too to take a step back, to take a giant leap forward. So, I've just been trying to work on things personally, things professionally, also that may have been areas that I have not focused as much attention on, but are important areas, the areas that may need improvement, business-wise, health-wise, spirituality-wise, family-wise, just been able to sort of buff up some of those those areas that didn't get as much attention. And and it overall helps who I am as a person, who the organization is, and how we're moving. So just trying to find that sweet spot within all of this madness going on.
I
And,
know.
and I
I know.
and,
Well,
and a big part of that,
no, go
Melissa,
ahead.
is just it's eat. It's what you eating. So like I've been spending a lot of time cooking and preparing my food these days. A lot more. Like you said, you mentioned sea moss. Making sure that I'm taking ample amounts of sea moss, my black seed oil, my elderberry syrup, just certain things that have the coronavirus has made me be a little bit more consistent with these things. So, I'm taking these things more to daily basis. And I'm seeing some of the impacts it's having on my body. So, and it's a cool thing. It's a positive impact energy wise, different things wise. So I just been just trying to get healthier, stay in positive mental space. I've been spending a lot of time outdoors. I live off Rhode Island Avenue, Northeast Washington. I have a backyard, so my backyard garden is really interesting during this time. I'm really, getting real hands on, doing some cool things back there. Spending a lot of time. It's very therapeutic for me. I've been also, taking it a little deeper with like meditating and deep breathing. I'm just really trying to be at peace during the time of hecticness.
And well, Ronnie, that's obviously my motto is one of my many mottos is food is everything, food is health, as Tambra Ray says, food is wealth. So definitely during these times and outside of these times, just feeding yourself really great nutritious food and food that's going to uplift your mind, your body, your spirit, because it's very easy to get sucked into the woes around us and have the cravings of the sugar and the salt and the carbs, which I'm not going to judge because that has definitely been me from time to time. But you got to get back on track. So actually this morning I had some fresh pressed watermelon juice and my cherries, just really just getting those vibes up. So I'm not sinking myself into this hole because there's a lot going on. And definitely my CMOS. So I'm on the same page as you, Ronnie. Definitely get my CMOS in. So, the green scheme, again, as I mentioned before, like this is really the time that you guys would be amping up efforts out in the garden, and just working with youth at different schools. Y'all always have your hands in the pot. Always, always. So definitely just want to do a check-in here because though given our stay-at-home orders, I know you specifically have been partnering with a couple other folks to, hand out water to the community and just to make sure that people have like their, food and produce boxes. And so let's just definitely touch on that because obviously, the mission still continues and there are communities that still need to be served, and this is your home, DC is your home as a native, like you realize that the work still continues. So let's just touch on some of the volunteer, work that you've been doing out in DC.
For sure, for sure. It's been, when this thing really hit, Melissa, it really got sort of like crazy. Um, as far as like us as an organization, um, you know, often nonprofits or organizations, you have your mission, and first thing was first. Besides all of that, we wanted to make sure before we deploy any sort of action towards this corona piece, we wanted to make sure our team was safe. People that we engaged with, the kids, we wanted to make sure first of all we had to see what it was to engage safely. I think once the it settled down on with how to safely engage in the community, we had to really, as an organization, keep a really close eye day by day on what was changing in our community. And we had to really reevaluate our organization and say, okay, this is what we do really good. But how do we not get mission creep or get or jump off doing something that isn't in line to what we started, and keeping our core beliefs, at the front, but at the same time, being able to adjust to the new landscape that has been happening through this pandemic, and make sure that um, we are a very strong resource for the communities in which we're working in. So it's been some challenges, but I think part of it is, you have organizations out here understanding the landscape of what already exists and what's going on. You have organizations out here that that are doing a really good job at food distribution. You have food banks, food pantries, they and organizations who are getting it out where it needs to be. And so one of the things I think for us was, okay, well, let's see some of the gaps. Let's see if it's anybody, any communities, any population of people in our communities that may be falling underneath that curve. Let's see if we can help um, facilitate getting those resources where they needed to be, from the other work that was going on. And so and that's what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, is just identifying those gaps. But not only that, being able to offer our organization as a support to other organizations doing the work. And that comes in a lot of different forms, fashions, different looks, whatever you want to call it. But it's we get calls from organizations that they have the resources to come in and invest in more but they don't have the community partners to do so. And so part of the grand scheme, what we do, we take pride in, is being able to make sure that we can get those resources properly um, distributed within our community, and make sure that the resources know that there's a need in our community for them, and just connecting those dots. And so,
No, that's great. That's great.
what we've been doing is,
Go ahead.
we've been partnering. So we've been to like Good Food Markets, has been distributing 300 produce bags on a weekly basis. So we've been supporting that. We partnered with Turner Natural. We've been going out, working with them to help distribute. They're creating some amazing juices that they're giving to essential workers. Started with the firefighters, which is really great. We're doing a lot of virtual stuff too right now. And so that was like the thing, is we wanted to make sure that virtually too, we were able to step our presence and transition as much of our following and as much of our information via social media or online platforms, so that people can have access to it. I mean, a lot of, like you say, a lot of people know about us in the community, and they know they can see us at this class, or come to this site, or come to this and engage with us. But when we're not physically there, or that's not accessible, how do they go to their trusted sort of source of information? And so we just wanted to increase our visibility. I think via virtually was one of the first things. I think that is really going to shoot us up for the future as we grow. Just making sure that we were able to sit back and build that piece, and make sure that that piece was a like what we say, bridge in our mission. It's an actual bridge for information to get to the people.
Yeah, no, that's great. And as you mentioned earlier, just talking about, having to make some real hard decisions about how you're now navigating the landscape, and again, stay-at-home orders are everywhere. And with your work primarily being focused in DC, and Mayor Bowser, I mean, the whole phase plan and how folks should be operating, that makes total sense. Everyone is needing to shift, and not even just for the interim, for the future. What does this look like? What does this look like for the future of Green Scheme and all the other organizations and all the other partners, that you collaborate with? So it's so absolutely in keeping that visibility out there. As I said, the mission still continues. Everyone's thinking about how do they become more visible, whether it's online, whether it's through those volunteer opportunities, but making sure that the folks who you've always been reaching and touching, that continues to happen in some capacity. And so with all of that said, as my intro, I had to mention, the Don't Mute My Health campaign, which I wore my t-shirt the other day, Ronnie. I had my t-shirt on. and corner water. Even though I still haven't got my hands on a bottle of corner water, I know that
You
you
ever got
haven't
a corner
forgotten about
water?
me. But
Oh
with
man.
the Don't Mute My Health campaign specifically, what because for those who aren't aware, like there was an entire Ronnie had led this press event where he was the main speaker, behind this entire Don't Mute My Health campaign, in addition to a ton of other collaborators. So where does that stand right now? Because, again, the mission continues, and Don't Mute My Health campaign, like that thing was like moving, man. Like it was moving, and you had allies, and it was definitely mobilizing. So what are there any updates on Don't Mute My Health campaign, or is that something else that you feel like you have to shift as well right now?
Yeah, actually, we doing some. Shout out to Stuart Anderson, and the coalition of folks that really helped push this piece, provided the support and resources. Stuart was a co-founder with me. Part of what's going on right now with Don't Mute My Health is it actually evolved to we started a new partnership. So we're working with an organization called Spaces in Action to co-lead the grassroots side of this movement with the green scheme. And what Spaces in Action is offering is they do a ton of organizing around healthcare, um, for children, for youth, different pieces, but they are a organizing organization that really does a lot of getting people really engaged in change in their community, especially revolved around that public health space. So we partner with them to get really more like intentional with our engagement. So we've been building we built like, the past part of Dumb You My Health has looked like ambassadors. It's looked like organizations and people hosting different events and so on. So now we've evolved it now to where we're getting sort of these community advocates even more engaged, and they're sort of spearheading their own projects, their own advocacy pieces, and X, Y, and Z. But what also is happening is we were able to hire Tyrell Holcomb as our organizer, and as our Don't Mute My Health organizer, and he's been doing a tremendous job. So we do these virtual like sort of like town halls around being healthy called Thirsty Thursdays. But besides that, part of what Don't Mute My Health has been doing is building a tremendous partnership, sort of partnership resume, and we've been sort of connecting with different organizations, and we've really been trying to. Don't Mute My Health is, and if people aren't 100% sure what it is, it's a grassroots movement for the community to reclaim their health. And so, we do that in creative ways. We bring experts out directly to the community that look like them, talk like them, that's from the community, and they're able to share in dialogue about what's right and what's wrong, what's best practices of health. And we have a doctor right there that could talk to you about, Dr. Yolandra was one of the doctors that, came, and we talked about sugar intake. And when she's able to break the data down and tell you real life stories, and, it makes so much sense. And it's somebody that you can trust the information coming from. And so that's all we wanted to create, just in multiple ways with the Don't Mute My Health piece. But I think with this partnership with Spaces in Action, we've really taken it to another level. The coronavirus and the pandemic has had a sort of like it put it like a speed bump and on the ground stuff. But as far as the movement itself, I think the minute this stuff sort of like opens up, you're going to see a really strong presence from Don't Mute My Health. The things that we just have lined up, we have different issues that we want to support now. We started looking at school lunches. It's just different things that are really important. And the nutrition of those school lunches is things that are really important, that we see from the community that we can sort of lend this umbrella and support for too. So any organizations that may be listening, people that are doing work in the community, if you need some backup, My Health is who you should call. We definitely want to get out. And we have a very very long, I want to say, reach with different people that support and who want to get engaged with different issues. And this is sort of like one of those places that you can go and you definitely can find some support if you're doing something positive, health based, community based.
All right, folks, we're going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Perfect Day, produced by Artists Authentic. For more of Authentic's work, visit allornothingstudios.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Giant Food. Whether you are concerned about diabetes, heart health, losing weight, or just want to improve family meal times, Giant has a team of nutritionists ready to help you make the best decisions to meet your health and wellness goals. You can check out their personalized consultations online or by phone. Just go to giantfood.com/nutrition, or they have nutritionists who are available to answer any of your questions at nutrition@giantfood.com. So, Ronnie, do you feel as though with the with this pandemic that COVID-19 has put the spotlight on other issues that may not have been seen before? Or do you feel like it's just kind of accelerating the issues that have already existed? Specifically speaking, to the wards that you all serve in DC.
Yeah, I think it's bringing the issues that were. I think we've been talking about them as a community for a while. I don't think the priority has been put on them, and I think when something like this happens, it shows you that it shows you the heightened priority that should be put on it. And so when I say that, I mean like, we talked about eating healthy now. We talked about, we've been talking about Dr. Sebi, has been circulating throughout the community for years now. We've been hearing about different things. And so what I'm saying is that people are getting a little bit more detailed in how they look at stuff, our community. So the issues that were, or barely popping up on the surface, and it should have been, in my opinion, have had more priority. I believe now that people are starting to focus because they're starting to see how tremendously it's directly impacting their lives. We commute like people think about high blood pressure. They think about like all these cardiovascular things, and it doesn't affect you as long as you could take your medicine or X, Y, and Z. But as you start to see, like, they're talking about weakening immune systems. They're talking about, your body, you're more subjective to this virus if X, Y, and Z isn't right. I think it just has people paying more attention to that, and when they start to see that, they start to say, okay, well, where do I get healthy food from? Where do I get sea moss from? Where do I get these herbs from? And I think now that heightened up the priority to get their hands on this stuff, exercising more, and so cooking and preparing their own foods more. And so I always say, Melissa, and if you know me, it's to me, it's always based to information and education. You got to know better to do better. So I think people are just starting to right now. It's almost like the truth commercial, but it's real life. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally, like, you got to get scared to really, like, I got to do something different. And I think that's what people are getting to.
I 100% agree. I definitely believe there's more of a heightened awareness individually, for a lot of folks, and folks are becoming more conscious. They're becoming way more conscious, and it's definitely positioning them to think more about, growing their own food, or, eating health, hashtag eating what healthy at home, and just really protecting their immune system more. You see CMOS like literally all over Instagram. It was before, but now it's like, listen, get your CMOS, get your immune system up. Obviously, there's definitely, some more self-determination that needs to happen, amongst, a host of folks. But I definitely see this wave of consciousness amongst folks who are like, let's get this together. Like you said, like it's like a truth commercial. I love how you said that. Like this is like, I'm afraid, and people are afraid because it's hitting so close to home. It's like, dag, like my best friends, such and such passed away, or, it's my grandmother, like it's hitting so close to home. And regardless of what our beliefs are behind the virus, because I have my own, the reality is that it's definitely affecting people, and the systems in this world in ways we probably would have never imagined. But I definitely agree with you that there's this heightened, awareness, and there's this consciousness, like this wave that's just coming over. So thank you for sharing that. Another question that I have for you is that, have you heard from, any of the youth that you all are so accustomed to working with? Like, have you heard from them like, yo, Ronnie, like, we want to get back out in the garden, even though they can, but it's just like they're so used to working with the green scheme and at the schools. Like, have you heard from any of the kids like, yo, like, when are we going to get back out here so we could touch this kale and, grow this and grow that? Have you heard from any of the kids at all?
Nah, Melissa, and it's crazy. I really haven't, besides, a few you see here and there, but, just being out. But I really haven't. And I think a big piece of it is because of the disconnect. We do a lot. We meet the kids where they are. So we go to, like, Boys and Girls Club, a DC Department of Recreational Center, the churches, the schools, to provide our programming. So we meet them there. All of those spaces are sort of shut down. And so I think a big part of what's going on is that, even some of those sort of spaces, the schools, they're having communication issues with their kids and students and youth. And so what we do have to look forward to is that we are running summer camps this summer. And so we're starting to flesh that out. And that looks really different this year. We're doing virtual pieces. We're doing tours of our urban gardens. Um, we're doing tours of our urban gardens, while the kids on the Zoom are going to be following. We're doing instructional videos. We're sending home kits, like growing kits for kids so they can start growing their own stuff in their home creatively. We're doing, with Lincoln Heights this year, the kids will be getting mini bullets, like the magic bullets that they can make smoothies and different things like that. So we've definitely set our infrastructure up so we can engage with the kids. But this has just been such a different looking time and landscape that it really, we really had to adjust and move with the waves, man. And we're doing it. June 1st is actually when we start. We actually have two camps at two public housing sites that start on June 1st, Lincoln Heights and Benning Heights. And so, with this stuff that we're doing, we're partnering with East of the River Collaborative, they're a great organization. They're going to provide virtual learning spaces for us to record. But we'd be doing a lot of our stuff at our gardens and at our sites, and we also be assigning like it'd be a chance. This is for a chance for us to be really creative, and with us having so much garden space in the city, we're going to assign some of these plastic parents and their kids, so then now they have their own sort of and make that process easy. It's not like, oh, I got to go sign up. I got to call DPR XYZ. It's like, okay, here's your plat. Come down with your parents. Let us know what times y'all coming down here. Just to make sure it's accessible and it's not too many people there at once. But, this is your section where you can come grow. And so for Lincoln Heights, for them to be able to go to the Lederer Center, our urban farm right there, and then also be able to go to the Kelly Miller farm there too, where they could probably gain some growing space too. I think that's what we really want to do, is just get the kids and more involved using the space, let them know that this space is open to them as long as they're using it properly and safe.
That's awesome. That is so freaking awesome. Heck, I want a grow kit.
I got we
I
got
want a mini like little bullet so I can make my smoothies. You got
too, though,
me.
Melissa. They're gonna be teaching their parents when they got stuff like that. It's like they can teach their parents, and a lot of these kids, especially Lincoln Heights kids, we've had them for years now. They grew up in our program, and so as you can start to just see how advanced they are with just knowing about, you go to some of the other kids in their school, in their class, they're just way more advanced when it comes to nutrition, urban agriculture, outdoors. They're a lot more open to doing the activities that include those things. So it's been cool watching them grow up. And it's funny, we actually doing Benning Heights this summer, and a mutual friend of ours, Xavier Brown, organized a tree planting and a garden build for that public housing site. And the guy who he helped organize with, that we were working with at the community at the time, is still there. And so we're able to come back, and the garden needs a little bit of a refresh, but that garden still exists with those fruit trees, and the community members are still there who organize the youth. And so we're able to connect that and be able to sort of like put a battery back into that community and that program. And I think we're going to do some major things. But it just shows you how you plant a seed. You just never know how you're able to come back, and you build infrastructure, you build resources for the community. We might not always be able to be physically present there, but if that infrastructure and that resource is there, and with the right sort of like people, and teaching the community the proper ways to grow this and keep it sustainable, you win. Xavier always he has a quote that I like, that he said a way back, and he was just like, we're like the training wheels. We're like the training wheels for these programs for people in the community. Eventually we want you to be able to take this piece and do it, grow it on your own, sustain it on your own, add fruit trees, bring funding in, be able to give kids jobs or stipends, community stipends, grow the space out, expand it, create partnerships and stuff like that. So, and for him to put it in that sort of way of looking at it, it's like we're really just like a training wheels, and as these organizations grow, or these people in these garden spaces grow, their garden committees that we set up or groups grow, they're able to go beyond what a vision green scheme may have, and their vision really grows beyond what they even expected it. And that's what we want to do, is just, we want them to be able to see, like, we go to some houses, some public housing gardens that we have, and they may have missed a year of growing in that spot, but they're saying, oh, the strawberries came back. It just gives them hope, and it gives them a way that they see that they can take control of their own situation. I don't have to, just because I live in a food desert doesn't mean I have to depend on, man, I got to depend on getting all of my food from the corner store, or I got to go all the way up to get this from the grocery store. And I can grow these little herbs, connect this with this, do this with this. And, and that's what we want to do, is just breaking the ice, meeting people where they are.
Well, my friend, the marathon continues, right?
It does. It does.
And, with all that said, I've always been, a big fan of the green scheme. I mean, you talk about a small but mighty, mighty, mighty organization that, has hands in all the pots, in our wards in DC. And so just like big ups to the green scheme, man. And so definitely want to conclude and just, have you provide some words of encouragement to those who, have been laying the groundwork for some time, and, just, how to deal with shifting. I know obviously no one really, well, at least we didn't, but bigger conversation, anticipated for a health pandemic like this to just really kind of like take over. But just, and there's some folks who are struggling with the shift. They don't know how to change. They don't know how to be visible. Maybe, they are unsure about, how to really tack on to the virtual space, how to be more tech savvy, like really just how to, keep their mission afloat while so much is happening and folks aren't really able to connect in the way that we are used to connecting. And, I just draw inspiration from you, Ronnie, and just hearing how you all have adjusted and just what you all are doing, especially with the summer camp and what you're sending the kids. And it's just so amazing. So, if you can we'll conclude the show before we do our quick rapid fire, just some words of encouragement for those who may have a tough time just dealing with the shift on, how to manage, and just really continue to do the work that they do.
For sure, for sure. And I think a big part of it is just like you say, it gets discouraging. And things like this happen, knocks you off your pivot. But I'm a firm believer in taking lemons and making lemonade. It's an opportunity. I believe in every sort of obstacle that you come across. And I just encourage people to look at the opportunity in some of these things that are going on. It's a lot of, and I just talk, it's a lot of being consistent and doing this work on the front line. You really get your skin thick. You really can take a lot. But, I think it's a time where you be really optimistic, look for opportunities and make the adjustments needed, and don't stress out. That's the key thing. Keep a positive mind frame. That's another thing is talk to your network, your support system that's around you, talk, get people, figure it out. I think, and what I do want to encourage people to also to remember is that just like, it seems like you're going through it and things are getting difficult. That's happening on the top level too. People are stressed out. They don't know what they're going to do. Big organizations right now are trying to figure out and make adjustments so they can survive. Leaders and different people doing so much. So everybody's going through it. I think it's just being calm, looking for the opportunity and keeping a positive mind frame. And I know that's easier said than done sometimes, especially, when things can change drastically around. But that has been what has been my go-to, and it's been keeping me positive minded. And just as much as you can, I mentioned it earlier, find balance. So if your work was 60 to 70% of your capacity and what you were doing, what you work on professionally, this may be a time to kind of build up some things in your life that can help support you professionally. If you're healthy, if your spirituality is intact, you're spiritually aware, you're balanced, that helps you professionally to push forward. So I would suggest, just looking at taking a clear, being still for a moment, looking at what's going on, and then just moving accordingly.
Spot on. And if anybody, for those who are listening, I mean, even I myself had, been, struggling just a bit with all of this. And it's just really realigning myself and, making sure that when I'm feeding myself is really soul food and just meditating and talking to your damn self. You got to talk to yourself. Okay. When you are out of alignment, you really just got to talk to yourself because you're really you are your biggest cheerleader. I had to have that talk to myself last night. So if anybody's feeling a certain way, know that Melly Mel feels that way from time to time. And I have to wake up and I have to tell myself, Melissa, you the bomb, get over it and keep it moving.
Max. And it works, right?
Real talk.
Look at you. Look what you're doing.
Works.
Yeah.
It works. It really does work. I'm telling you, words are powerful. They are so, 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 so powerful. And you have to say it with meaning and you have to declare it. So anywho, Ronnie, thank you so much. Where can folks find you if they want to connect, collaborate, support? Because the marathon continues and y'all ain't slowing this race down at all.
Facts. And thank you for having us. We love just getting, you have such a great platform. You educating people so much. You bring us such great people and resources to the community. And we all doing it in so many different ways. And this is just one of the ways that I'm just super proud to have you as a friend and just the work that you're doing. So, but follow us, the Green Scheme, on Instagram or Facebook at the THE Green GREEN Scheme SCHEME. And just follow us on all those platforms. You can also follow us on Don't Mute My Health, which we're giving out a lot of information, and a lot of community information about things that's going on, a bunch of platforms and virtual sort of things that you can engage with people that talk like you, from the same community as you, but also, people that know some stuff. So we definitely stirring those spaces up. So if you can, at the Green Scheme. Also, you get a chance, go up Good Food Markets, grab you a corn of water. Stay hydrated, y'all. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Bet. All right, my friend, you know the deal. We got our quick rapid fire before we officially end. And you are familiar with this, but there are 2 questions that are new. So for the first 2, I'll ask I'll ask them in a slightly different way. Well, not too much different, but anyway. So, my friend, what is your favorite veggie?
I'm going to have to go with, right now at the moment, mustard greens. I know that's weird, but mustard greens.
Yummy. No, that's not weird. All right. What's your favorite fruit?
Pineapple.
Sweet, spicy, sour, salty, savory, or bitter?
Sweet and sour together.
So my last question is, what has been heavy on your playlist these days? It can be music, books, podcasts, what have you. But really, the intentions is music, but whatever you've been listening to in heavy rotation, let us know.
I think it's this artist in California. My partner put me on to. His name Larry June. It's pretty dope. He got a song called Organic
Smoothie. Larry Jim or Larry Jones?
Larry June, June.
Okay, gotta check him out. But cool. All right, thank you again, Ronnie. It was a pleasure, as always, speaking with you. Thank you all for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We are here live on Full Service Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m., where you can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org, as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow me at Food Talks in Color on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. I would love to feature you. Just shoot me a DM on the gram. Peace and blessings all. And remember, there is no culture without agriculture.